Hi, everybody. We are on our next chapter, which is all about area. So some of it might be a review, some of it might be new. Again, just kind of depends on what your mathematical background is. Today, we are going to go over area of parallelograms and triangles. And obviously, at the end of this, you will be able to find the area of those two figures. Okay. So first things first, let's write down what our formulas are for these. So area of a parallelogram, simply just base times height. Again, it's pretty obvious. Your base is right here, and your height is right there. Just always look for that right angle. Okay, your base and your height are always perpendicular. So area of a parallelogram is base times height. Area of a triangle. So there we go, maybe. There we go. You can actually divide this parallelogram into two triangles. So our formula for area of a triangle is half base times height, because this triangle here would take up half the area of that parallelogram. So our formula is half base times height, or you can take base times height and then divide by 2 in the end. Whatever you prefer, it's the same outcome. So we're going to do some examples here. It says find the perimeter and area of each figure. So let's start with the perimeter, since that's what it says first. So remember, perimeter is if you were to walk all the way around this parallelogram, how far would you walk? Don't forget, opposite sides of parallelograms are congruent. So over here would be 17, down below would be 21. So for perimeter, we would have 17 plus 21 plus 17 plus 21 for a grand total of 76. And then your units would just be centimeters. It's a linear measure, 76. Okay, now for area, remember it's base times height. So if we look here, we don't have our height length or our height measure. We have to figure it out. You guys are good kids, you're smart. It's just a right triangle, so we can do Pythagorean theorem to find that missing side. X squared plus 8 squared equals 17 squared. 8 squared is 64. 17 squared is 225. Oops, I lied. 289. Subtract over your 64. X squared equals 225. Last step, take that square root. Square root of 225 is 15. So now that we know our height, it's pretty simple to find the area. Plug it in. Our base is 21 times our height of 15. 15 times 21 is 315. Then our units is centimeters squared. All right, same song and dance on this one. Again, let's find our perimeter. So opposite sides are congruent, so this bottom would be 17. Unfortunately, we don't know either of those sides. However, they're telling us we have a special right triangle here, which is nice. It's a 45, 45, 90. So if this guy right here is 9, this would be 9. And then our hypotenuse would be 9 root 2. But we can approximate, we'll say it's about 12.7. If you type it in your calculator, it's about 12.7. So now if we find the perimeter, we'll have 12.7 plus 17 plus 12.7 plus another 17 for a grand total of 59.4 yards. Then our area, again, base times height, kids. Our base is what, 17? Our height of 9. 17 times 9. 153 yards squared. Okay, one more, but this time we're going to try triangle. So for whatever reason, sometimes this really confuses us. You're only looking for the shaded shape. When things are dashed right here, you guys see that pink dashing? That means it's not a part of your shape. It just means that your height is falling outside your triangle because it's an obtuse triangle, okay? So you're only looking for the area of this shaded triangle, all right? So if we start with perimeter, we know 2 of our 3 sides. We do not know this side right here. But with this dashed in triangle, we can do Pythagorean theorem to find it. So we'll have 27 squared plus 30 squared equals x squared. 27 squared is 729. 30 squared is 900. Add those 2 together, we get 1629. Lastly, take our square root. X equals about 40.4 approximately. So now we can easily find our perimeter. 19 plus 41 plus 40.4 for an ending total of 100.4. And what is our unit? Inches. And then we'll find our area. Or base times height divided by 2, or half base times height, doesn't matter, it's the same thing. Our base, now it gets kind of tricky here. So I think it's first, let's look at where our right angle is. Here's our right angle. What are the 2 things forming that? Well, we now know our height is 30. So our height is 30. And then our base it connects to is this 19. We don't want this area, we don't care about that, we just want the 19. So we'll have a base of 19, our height of 30, divide by 2. Multiply that out and you should get a grand total of 285 inches squared. Then our last one here, we're going to work backwards. So it says the base of a parallelogram is twice its height. If the area of the parallelogram is 72 square feet, find its base and height. So we're not told what our base is or our height, but we can figure it out by giving them a variable. So it says the base of a parallelogram is twice its height. Well, do we know what its height is? Not yet. So for now, we're going to call it x, okay? Now, if our base is twice that amount, how do I represent that? Well, it would be 2 of those, 2x. Okay, our formula for area of a parallelogram is base times height. Now let's plug in what we know. We're told our area is 72, so we're going to plug that in for A. So we're going to have 72 equals, now what is our base? 2x. Our height is x. And now we just algebra our way out of this. Drop down here 72. 2x times x would just be 2x squared. Okay, remember in math, you're always just trying to isolate your variable. So I want to get x squared alone. How do you do that? Divide by 2 to both sides. 72 divided by 2 is 36. X squared, we love this. We're going to get a nice whole number. Take the square root, x equals 6. But now just make sure you answer the question, what is your base and your height? So plug back in. So if x is 6, if we plug in 6 here, 2 times 6 gives us 12. And our height is 6. So if you want to be fancy, base is 12. What are we in feet? Height is 6. All right, thanks for tuning in, kids. We will see you tomorrow in class. Have a super great rest of your day, and I will see you very soon. Toodaloo.